All right, welcome into the Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt here on HD Media Sports, along with Video Productions. And I'm Brandon Lowe, and right next to me is Ryan Pritt, Gazette and Mel's WVU beat writer, as well as he is back on the prep grind right now with everything slowing down with WVU. What's up, Ryan? What's up, man?
Hey, man, how's it going? Welcome to Hunter Moles' office here in the Charleston Catholic Athletic Facility. He doesn't know I'm here, but I appreciate it. Thanks to AD Jacob Nelson for hooking me up with some Wi-Fi and a place to do this from. We're up here watching the state tennis tournament today. So pretty cool stuff, man. They take care of you up here, and I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, obviously different AD up there when I was covering Catholic as far as doing their basketball games. That was Gillespie, I believe, that was up there as the AD whenever I was doing that. And, man, they always do a great job of taking care of you up there and making sure you have everything you need. And, of course, it's top notch up there, too. So good stuff. What have you been seeing at the tennis tournament there?
Oh, we just finished up doubles, first and second round matches. As I was coming up, the number one singles semifinals had started. So we're getting into the grind here. I'm up at the AAA courts. Our Luke Creasy will be over at AAA all day, so he'll have that story for you guys. Right now, Catholic has everyone they put in the tournament still alive, so it's gone well for the host school up here so far. Their number one girl and boy are playing right now behind me at that window somewhere. So some good stuff up here, some good matches, and we'll go through semifinals for singles and doubles today, and that'll set up all finals tomorrow morning. So should be fun.
Cool, man. I know you said this is this the first time you've covered this?
You know, I think one other time I may have covered a day up here, but this is not, of all the championships, I've probably covered the state cheerleading meet more than I've covered this. So this is new. I know Luke's new over there. I don't think he's done this before either. So it's a little bit of blind leading blind here, but our Rick Farlow was over here yesterday and did a nice job of briefing both of us last night for about an hour. And that's kind of what you get, man, when you got short staffs and 4 postseasons overlapping in the same week. It's been crazy from the jump here, and it'll stay that way through the end of next weekend.
Sure thing. Go ahead and talk about our guests as well, which one of them is trying to make it in here. David Scragg. If I'm hoping I'm getting his last name correct. Ryan, I was supposed to do that before he got in here.
We call him, you can be called Scraggalicious.
Scraggalicious.
Yeah. He doesn't want to show us the locks. Here he comes.
There he is.
There it is. What's up, fellas?
What's up, dude?
Man?
How you doing?
Oh, not much.
Welcome to the show. We're in midstream here.
Yeah, it's all right. Welcome in.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so right when we were getting ready to introduce our guest, he comes on. This is Scraggalicious, Scraggo. What do you go by these days, boy?
Anything and everything. I've been called worse. So
those flowing locks, man. How long are we letting that go?
That's I started probably right around the beginning of COVID, kind of just letting it go. And I mean, I don't see any end in sight. I kind of like the long hair. So
I think that
do you rock the ponytail?
Yeah, I do. At special occasions and whatnot. Mitch was married 3 days ago or something like that, and I was his best man, so I had to make sure I threw it in a ponytail for that. I'll probably throw it in a ponytail while we're at nationals, so I don't look like a total bum. But yeah, most of the time it looks like this. But if I have to look presentable, I go with the ponytail.
Awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, I guess something else to talk about today. Good. So anyway, this is David Scragg. Mitch Hoffman will join us in the next few minutes. They have members of the University of Charleston men's golf team. Scragg's been a member for 26 years now. He's been in school longer than Tommy.
Yep.
Nice.
Right.
But they qualified for nationals last week, man. So congratulations on that first.
Thank you. Yeah, it only took me 6 years, so finally got it done. But we all played pretty well, and it was a sweet track up there in New York. I really liked it. So definitely everything kind of came together and worked out in our favor for sure.
Yeah, David's got 8 master's degrees by now, which is a nice.
No, seven masters.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the running joke on the team is that I've been there longer than Coach has, and I think he's been there for probably close to 20 years now or so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you tell Mitch 12-10?
Yeah, I told him 12-10. I think he's at like the orientation or whatever for PT school or something. So he's on his lunch break. He should be in here in just a few minutes, I'd imagine.
Very cool. We'll talk more golf when he gets on. But in the meantime, man, what's going on with you, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I had been working at Cabela's for a little while, and then I had my last day right before the regional tournament, because I plan on, once nationals is over with and the college career is over with, I think I'm going to start as the assistant pro at Edgewood under Scragg.
Wow.
So yeah, we're gonna go that route. To be completely honest with you, the Masters was kind of just to continue to play a little more golf, and give me something to fall back on if everything else doesn't work out. But I'm really looking forward to getting out there. Edgewood's a great place, and I've known Craig for a long time, and he's a great guy. So I'm definitely excited about it for sure.
A couple things first. I'm pissed as hell that you didn't tell me you worked at Cabela's, because I could surely have used that discount.
I thought you knew. I was pretty sure everybody knew I was at Cabela's.
How much money I've spent on lures in that place in the last 6 months.
Oh my gosh. I would honestly, I'd be scared to know that number. I would.
It's probably more than I made.
Because I know what my number is, and that one's pretty scary, and I can imagine that yours is probably quite a bit more than that. So
it's second, man. What a crew at Edgewood now. That's going to be a fun place to go hang out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Lots of good players out there, and honestly, as far as layout, that's my favorite track around. I love it. Practice facilities are nice, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I agree.
All right, we got Mitch in here. He's connected, but he didn't have video. He has audio.
Okay.
Mitch, what's going on, man?
How's it going? You see me
What's up,
now?
dude?
There he is.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can see you now.
Yeah.
It's Hoffman, who broke the hearts of every single female in the Kanawha Valley a few days ago, I heard.
There we go.
Congrats, my man.
Look at that
Appreciate it.
sexy man right there. Getting married, huh?
Goodness.
You are married. Awesome. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Where's the honeymoon?
It's going to be in Aruba in December.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Scragg is
Go
gonna
big or
try to
go
stuff
home,
into-
Getting out of here for a little bit.
Scragg's going to try to stuff himself into the cargo of that plane if you're not careful.
He's going to need a real big bag.
That's going to be a little bit of a fee for that one. Yeah.
All right, well, Mitch, we just touched on it a little bit, man. First off, congrats not only on the wedding, but on the NCAA tournament berth, man. That's pretty cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're looking forward to it for sure.
You finished. What did you do individually? Were you tied second up there?
Tied for second. Yeah. Didn't even realize it really, but
Yeah, strong showing there. Obviously, tell us a little bit about the track and how your couple of days went.
I really enjoyed it. We got really fortunate with the weather. I mean, it was beautiful for New York in May. It was awesome. The track's really good. It sets up well for our team, and I think we really took advantage of it for the most part. We have some long hitters on the team, and it was like 7,000-ish yards, so we took advantage of that. And then also, I would say you had to be pretty precise with your iron play into the greens. They're some pretty tough pins, and I was able to do that. And the putter didn't cooperate for the win, but obviously to finish second was pretty exciting.
Yeah. Scragg, it looked like you had your typical, I'm going to grind this thing out. I made 3 birdies to better figure out how to turn it around in round 2, didn't
Yeah,
you?
at the end there.
Yeah, that was it was pretty interesting. Didn't look good through the first couple holes. I wasn't hitting great golf shots. But I lucked into a couple birdies. I made birdie on one of the par 5s pretty stock, and then there was one par 4 that probably played 320 or 330, and I hit driver on the front edge of the green and made birdie. And then I almost made a 1 on the hole after that. I was like 6 inches from making a 1 and tapped in for birdie. So I made like 3 birdies in a row, kind of got me going. And then really I continued to hit good golf shots, but like Mitch was saying, my putter didn't really help me out any at all either. But lots of pars coming in, and you know, thank goodness it ended up being good enough to get it done with the team. But definitely would have liked to have made a few more putts coming down the stretch for sure.
You say you hit the green on a 330?
It might not have been quite 330. It was downwind for sure. It was probably 320, 330, and it was
Happy
it was
Gilmore
downwind
over here.
quite a bit.
Downhill,
No, it was-
downwind, all of the above, Mitch. What did Mitch hit? A 5-iron on that hole?
I hit 3 wood.
Yeah, he hit 3 wood and came up short because he doesn't hit it as long as I do. No, it was a pretty flat hole in my defense. You know, it wasn't downhill, but it was downwind, probably 25 miles an hour whenever I got up to it. So all worked out in my favor.
What do you guys know about the track next week? How do you guys kind of prepare for that one?
You want to take that one, Mitch, or you want me?
Yeah, sure, I'll go ahead. We don't know a whole lot about it. Obviously, I've never played any TPC course other than the Old White, but you know, of course, assistant coach Marty and coach have kind of went over some stuff, and we've did a course tour online, and we ordered the books to kind of study up on it a little bit. So we're looking forward to it. I know it's about 7,000 yards, just like the last one we played, but I'm hearing it's pretty tight. A lot of you know, target golf holes, so it's going to be a little bit different, but we'll give it our shot.
Yeah. Hey, did you what was kind of the experience up in New York? Did you guys link up with any other guys from other schools or anything like that? What was like the environment up there as far as, you know, taking it all in? I know you guys were up there for business, but you guys meet any other golfers up there from other schools that you know, maybe gave you some pointers, you guys, you know, kind of talked or fraternized with or whatever, or hang out? What was like the environment up there?
I wouldn't say that we, you know, got together and like shared pointers or anything like that, but I mean, we're really good friends with a bunch of the guys from like the Davis and Elkins team.
Yeah.
They're all really, really great guys. Love all of them to death. West Liberty, we're really good friends with a bunch of the guys on West Lib's team. And then probably Gannon as well. I'm pretty good friends with a couple of guys that play for Gannon. And we play lots of tournaments against each other and stuff like that. So we see them year round. So the environment, I mean, I played with a good friend of mine from West Lib, Howie Peterson, the first 2 days of the tournament. And it definitely kind of helped to mellow me out because, you know, we played, you know, tons and tons and tons of rounds of golf together. So that was nice. And for the most part for me, the environment was, you know, it was friendly and we really did enjoy ourselves for the most part, especially in my group. I'm not sure about Mitchell, but we had a really good time.
Yeah, it's really cool too that, you know, we're all cheering for each other when it come down the stretch. You know, us, Gannon, and D&E all made it. We're all from the same, you know, conference or part of the region, so we're all cheering for each other.
David,
Yeah, absolutely.
Has it struck you that after more than a decade, this is it for you in college golf? And Mitch, how relieved are you of that?
I
was hoping he'd leave me 2 years ago, but he never did.
Oh yeah,
Professor Scragg.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have a doctorate if I stay for another semester.
You ain't that
but
smart.
No, it is kind of crazy that it's all coming to an end. Feels like I've been playing. Well, I mean, really, for most of my life, I have been playing some form of competitive golf, and it's just kind of wild that, you know, the college part's over with because I've been here for 6 years now, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely gonna miss it without a doubt. So.
As you guys look at this field next week, I don't know how many of these teams you've seen or played against. I mean, you know, do you have any idea what you're up against as far as, you know, the other teams? And I mean, is your goal to win the whole thing? I mean, what do you guys think? Is that a realistic goal going into next week?
I mean, I think we proved this week that about anything's possible. I mean, we almost came from behind and won the thing this week. So we're not going to Detroit to try to, you know, finish 16th or whatever. We're going to try to. I think our main goal would be to make match play, which is top 8. That'd be a really realistic goal for us. I know we're paired with number 3 Arkansas Tech, the number 3 team in the nation. So it's going to be a fun challenge, but we're excited for it, for sure.
Yeah. You guys coming to Bettinardi next week?
I will not be able to make it. I don't know about Scragg.
I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't know the Bettinardi was next week. I don't think I'll be able to make it. Craig's pretty swamped up at Edgewood. He's not happy that I've had to take off as much time as I have so far. He was giving me a bunch of trouble about making it to nationals because he was really hoping I'd be up there helping him out this week. But no, I don't think I'll be able to make it.
You said you were going to be the assistant pro there. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does that mean you're turning pro after this week? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure exactly when I'm going to do it. But that is like the ultimate goal is to be the assistant pro there, be able to like give lessons and stuff like that. So I haven't decided if I'm going to wait and maybe try and play in like the AM or something one last time before I do it. I've got to sit down and talk with Craig and see what he thinks and what he's wanting me to do. But yeah, as soon as I'm done with all of the amateur stuff, I'm going to turn pro probably within the next few months, I'd imagine.
That means we can get David to hook us up with some nice golf up there, right? Ryan?
There we go. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, come on out, boys.
He is right though. Edgewood is the track.
Yeah.
You come out and laugh at me anytime you want to, Scragg.
I laugh at you all the time anyway.
Mitch, what about you, man? You got one more year, right?
No, I'm done. I mean, I could use a COVID year, but I'm actually currently at Marshall right now for PT orientation school. So I'll be starting that in a few weeks.
Very cool, man. Congrats on that too.
Appreciate it.
Scragg, Hoffman's doing huge things, man. What are we all doing?
I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I just hope that eventually I can be half the man that Mitch Hoffman is. That's my goal.
Oh goodness. Well, cool stuff, guys. I guess good luck next week, and I'll see you guys. I don't know about Scragg. I'll see you at the AM this year, right, Mitch?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Some close calls of that thing, man. You're about due with that, aren't you?
I think we're due one. Yeah, we're gonna try to win this one for sure.
Absolutely. Well, cool having you guys on.
Lucky I'm not playing.
How many times have you beaten him at the AM? Ever? I mean, is it one?
No, let's not get into the numbers. That's okay.
Yeah, that's probably a good answer, Bob.
Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. See ya.
Later. See ya. All right, there they go. Mitch Hoffman, David Scragg, UC golfers are gonna head over to Division II championships.
The funniest two people to talk to at the same time, I tell you. I've known them both since they were 14, I guess.
Yeah.
Didn't get into this much because I've written about it before, but both went to Poca High School. They've been playing golf together for more than half their lives, probably, and you couldn't meet more different people than those two guys right there. And when you get them together, man, it's always funny just to hear that.
Yeah, I could tell just being around them, just in that interaction there, that's totally two different personalities. And David reminds me of more of a John Daly type of golfer.
It's funny because even the way they play, I mean, Hoffman, man, he's a ball striker. Mitch, you heard Dave said he could outdrive him. David has never outdriven Mitch in his entire life that I'm aware of.
You say 3-wood on the 330?
Yeah, Mitch is a bomber, and Scragg, man, I respect him too because he can grind like crazy. I mean, he's going to keep it in play, and he's going to come up with bars when he needs them. And I guess, I mean, they've both been a barrel of fun just to get to know and cover since they were little kids. Well, not little kids, but kids, I guess. And yeah, I mean, great to get them on. Great to get to see them in their careers the way they're going to next week. That's always cool too. So
yeah,
looking for that.
Assistant pro over there at Edgewood. So
yeah, Scragg going pro. I didn't know that. That was kind of we're breaking news here today.
Yeah, breaking news here. We're important like that.
Bro, I had no idea, and I'm still pissed off at him over the Cabela's thing.
Oh yeah, you could have gotten all kinds of discounts.
Use that family discount. You know? Your sports writer salary. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to those guys for coming on. Good luck to them. Hopefully they do some big things there in the championships. It's cool stuff, man. Good story. UC's just doing some good stuff in general.
I mean,
baseball.
they are. Tennis.
Yeah, tennis. I mean, they're killing it right now. So yeah, tennis is off. They're gonna do their thing. So I mean, it's exciting times there on the campus over there.
Yeah, you know, UC's turned into a Division II power, man. I mean, really, in a lot of different things. You know, football's had some really close calls with getting into playoffs here in the last few years. Obviously, Pat did a great job there, and now they move on, and there's a lot of momentum there too. So, I mean, and then you had the women's basketball team won the MEC, right? They beat. That's when they beat Glenville, was the MEC final, right? So Glenville won a national title, but not a conference title. So yeah, some really good stuff out of them, man, and that'll be fun to kind of keep an eye on next week. So
yeah, and I think Quinn's gonna do a good job there, taking over for Pat. You know, we had him on the show. You weren't in that day when we were on radio, but I think you're Morgantown or something, but yeah, I just like him. He's young too. For a coach, he's young, but he's a UC guy and he's been around that program for a while, and he's done some assistant work. So I think they're on up with that too. So
yeah, absolutely. And I was there when the announcement was made, so I got to talk to him.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You were at the press
sure.
conference. That's what it was. I think you were at the press conference and we had him on the radio show.
Right. Yeah, that's
that
what
day.
It was. Yeah, sharp dude, obviously really passionate about the job. And that's kind of where you got to start. So
good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, we talk about UC all the time. We hardly ever mention Brent Stevens, who's piloting this ship as one of the better ADs you're going to find anywhere. And what she's done over there has been pretty outstanding, because like we said, you can pretty much name the sport and they're either having success now or have had it in the last 5 to 10 years. So kudos to her as well. You get her.
Yeah, she's been the photog. She's been in multiple photos as of late on social media. It's almost like she can't keep up with all the success. She's over at tennis, then she's over with golf, and then she's now we got baseball going on and the
baseball, right? Yeah. So
yeah, and
we need to get her on here one day when it quiets down a little bit for her here in a month. So
yeah, she's great. Also, Bren's just if you've never talked to her or dealt with her or whatever, she's just like one of the best as far as like being accommodating and just like making sure she's taking care of the media and folks like that. So she's really great. Any interaction I've ever had with her has been phenomenal.
Yeah. So shifting gears a little bit and riding that. Speaking of great people, I know you wanted to touch on this a little bit today. Winfield softball coach Steve Hensley, who's one of the best people you could meet in this business, finally breaks through last night. They win their first section under him and their first since 2011. And that was a good one, man. I get to see some good ones, and a 2-1 win with a game-winning run scored in the top of the 7th inning. Watching Winfield win 5 straight elimination games, 4 in consecutive days, and 3 over teams that they were 0-4 against before that, all on the road too. Just a remarkable run over the last week by them last night, and they punched their ticket. I think it was the last one to get punched around here. We were done other than them to regionals, which will start on Monday. So by next Wednesday, weather permitting, if not probably Thursday, we'll know the state tournament fields heading into the following week. So
yeah, that's I saw the video that you posted up on Twitter, and that was just a very cool moment. I didn't know the history of that, so I'm glad to know that now. But just the team coming and celebrating there at home plate, and that was just a really cool moment. I love that, man. We talked about that with the high school athletics and the celebrations, and all the things that either these players have gone through or the coaches trying to break through. And as we've talked about, coaches and their relationships with their players, and they're around each other all the time, pretty much like a second parent. So for them to be able to embrace that and have a good time. And I love this time of the year as far as any type of postseason play in any sport, because that's when everything, the passion, everything just goes right into it, full force, 100%. And, fortunately, you got to have some losers in these contests too, which sucks.
Yeah,
but
that was tough last night too, because this is a night team that was pretty dominant in the regular season, and it was just suddenly, Winfield beats them 10-1 2 days ago to stave off elimination once, and it was kind of out of nowhere. And this senior class of softball players around here it's probably the deepest class I've covered ever. And we've said goodbye to a lot of them here in the last week or two. And last night it was Lena Elkins, who's a pitcher for Nitro, been a 4-year player, 2-time first team All-Stater. Of course, as you realize, there wasn't a third season because they get COVIDed out. So 1-time Kanawha Valley Freshman of the Year, leads the state in strikeouts. Just an amazing career, amazing season. She's off to Charlotte to continue her career next year. The night before, I saw the end for Olivia Meeks, an infielder from Hurricane who's going to Purdue. Abby Darnley from Buffalo is a senior. She'll head to Marshall to play. And it's just, you see, there's so much talent. We're so talent rich here in this sport. But, one person's misfortune is another's fortune. And now, another quality senior, Winfield's Kennedy Dean, who was also a 2-time first team All-Stater, We'll head to Youngstown to play. She gets her first sectional plaque and first shot at a state tournament as well. So, it's almost fitting that in 3 years, Sissonville, Nitro, and Winfield all won that section once. So there were some really quality seniors on all 3 of those teams. And in a way, it's almost fitting they all get a shot at it at least once. So,
yeah. Speaking of, those gals going D1 or whatever it is. And I know we've kind of touched on it, but, I know you don't really mess with college baseball too much, but college softball is so much fun to watch. Like,
oh my gosh.
Like if you turn that on TV, like I know people will probably roll their eyes if they haven't even experienced it, but that's exactly why you roll your eyes, because you haven't taken the time to watch it. And a lot of times you'll run into some of these local kids, which is pretty cool. You'll run into them on ESPN or whatever whatever the channel is that they have it up. But man, the competition, the games are usually close, especially when you get into, some really good teams. The games are just awesome. I love it. I love watching it. So if anybody hasn't done that, do yourself a favor and watch some college softball, because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's all up tempo. There's not a lot of downtime in softball like baseball. Yep. It definitely makes for an interesting watch. But another thing I'll mention here, we had a pair of golfers who are obviously doing some big things on the show. There's some others within state ties that deserve mention. Mason Williams, the 2019 West Virginia Amateur champion, was the youngest to do it since the 1960s. At that time, as a 19-year-old, I told you off air that we're going to try to get him on next Friday.
Yeah.
His Georgia Southern team qualified as a team for regionals, and they'll start play next week as well. And he also made it through local qualifying for the U.S. Open. So he'll go to a regional qualifier, and if he gets through that, he's in the U.S. Open. So obviously major stuff out of him, and a cool story there. And also Kenny Hess, the 2020 West Virginia Open champ from Parkersburg. I think it's 2020. I'm sorry if it's not. Who won it at Glade Springs by a shot, and lives in Florida in the off season, teaches golf. He also made it through a local qualifier, so he's got a shot to get into the U.S. Open as well. So, great from both of those guys. We see them every year at the Open. I'll see, Mason at the AM too, probably until he eventually turns pro, which I'm sure he will. We can ask him that next week.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw the story I wrote yesterday, but then there was Alex Easton, who the 2020 West Virginia AM champ from Ravenswood, whose car ignites randomly on the interstate with his entire college dorm room in it last week. Lost clubs, clothes, computers, wallets, about everything he could have lost. His mom throws up a GoFundMe page, and they've reached their goal in less than a day, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people pitching in there to help him out. He's a great kid too. I think he and Mitch are the same age, so he just is finishing up at West Lib, though I think he is going to take the COVID year, so he's going to come back next year and play there. So just a lot of crazy stuff going on in West Virginia golf over the last week, and definitely wanted to mention all that stuff for sure.
Yeah, make sure you check out that story. I did share it over on our social media page, Facebook at Lowe Show, and we changed our Twitter handle to at BLR Pod. So we've changed that over there. Yeah. Yeah, I thought about doing that, but I was like, no.
Yeah, Alex is a different cat, man. I met him in 2020. He's leading the West Virginia Amateur. The year before, or 2 years before, he shot 100 in a round there, and he's in the final round, leading 13-time champion Pat Carter by a shot, getting ready to make the turn onto the back nine as a 20-year-old. Right, no big deal. And all of a sudden, as is prone to happen in White Sulphur Springs, we get a sudden thunderstorm pop up. So everyone runs for cover. And I happen to be right beside the 8th green. And I just run, there's a little shack. If you're familiar with the old White, you'll know what I mean. There's a little shack between the 7th fairway and 8th green. And I run over and get into cover. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden a cart pulls up, and it's Alex. He jumps out and jumps into the shelter with me. It's just me and him. I've never met the kid other than talking to him that week. And it's just pouring rain. So I get about, 30 minutes just to sit and talk to the kid. And, before that, I was kind of walking around like, man, there's no way this kid's going to hang on to this. This is too big of a spot. You know, he's not used to this. And by the end of that conversation, I had no doubt he was going to win the tournament. Just a kid that really even keeled, really just, you know, not into the moment, you know, and you could tell that he had a mentality for it. And he comes out on the next hole after the rain delay. They blow the horn. He's on the 10th tee, a par 4, and he puts a drive within 1 foot of the hole. He almost jarred it on a par 4, taps in for eagle, goes on to win the tournament by 1. But yeah, I really appreciate that he gave me a few minutes yesterday. I called him up, and probably not, you know, the coolest thing to have to talk about in the middle of a busy day, but he did give me a few minutes. So thanks to Alex there, and I'm glad that whole thing worked out for him, because that could have been really bad, obviously.
All right, we're gonna take we'll take a little quick break because we got another interview coming up. It's Friday.
Big one.
It's a Friday the 13th, so
you know I'm excited.
We're gonna talk some scary flicks here, some horror. We're gonna talk some, you know, obviously we're gonna talk some Evil Dead because that's what they're doing right now. I know you watched, was it the Army of Darkness?
I did last night. A little homework to get ready, man. We don't get Mike Vanderbilt on here every day, but when we do, I'm ready. I can't wait. I'm excited.
So we're gonna have Mike Vanderbilt from the Halloweenies podcast. If you haven't checked it out and you're a fan of horror and just scary movies or whatever in general, definitely give it a listen because they do a great job across the board. So we're gonna have him coming up again. Thank you to University of Charleston golfers Mitch Hoffman and David Scragg for coming on. Good luck to those guys and that team as they head off to the Division II championships there in Detroit. So good luck to them. So we'll be back here. Make sure, again, I always encourage you guys to follow us on our social media page. Like I said, Twitter's now at BLR Pod, Facebook at BLO Show. That's still that because Facebook doesn't just let you easily change your handle. Thank you, Facebook. So that's still the same over there. And we're on the YouTubes, and all the social media pages as far as Gazette Mail and Herald Dispatch, their websites as well. So all right, we'll be back here talking horror films with Mike Vanderbilt from Halloweenies. Stay tuned. All right, we move our attention over to the best bartender in Chicago, along with a part of the one of the best podcasts in the world, a Halloweenies podcast. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. He is Mike Vanderbilt, and he's joining us here on the Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt. Hey, Mike, we were just talking. We were doing this thing radio, but now we get to go face to face with you here on the podcast.
It's different. I love it, and thanks for all those kind words about the show. It tickles me to no end how much people love the Halloweenies podcast, to the point where people on Twitter will be, you know, quoting the show, like not like the movies we're doing, like stuff we've said on the show, and we do so many hours of it that I don't remember half the silly stuff that we say on there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you, not only that, but you guys expand my movie library. So when I know you released that little thing at the beginning of the month, and I'm on the rental, so I get all those. So I'm like, oh crap, I've never seen this one. I've got 3 weeks to find this somewhere and watch it before they talk about it. So I've probably seen 10 to 15 movies I've never seen in the last 6 months just because of your fight.
It's usually on Tubi. Anything you can't find is probably going to be on Tubi, the best streaming service out there.
Yeah, I actually was telling Brandon the Stuff last month. Though. I've never seen that.
You'd never seen that one before.
No, wow, what a film that was.
Are you familiar with the works of Larry Cohen?
A little, yeah, but I'd missed that one obviously, and you know, I didn't know anything about it going in, and you can imagine not knowing anything about it. What that one?
Truly, like it just keeps that just keeps getting better with age, because truly with the FDA and advertising in America, the more things change, the more things do stay the same.
Well, Brandon touched on it real quick. I know we both wanted to ask, and I voted in the poll as well, but to be named the best bartender in the whole damn city of Chicago, man, congrats on that.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I mean, I did nominate myself, but I am a big advocate of no one's going to promote yourself like you're going to do it. Right. So lean into that a little bit. But it was a big deal because, when we were off mic, we were kind of talking about the state of radio and the state of journalism. And the Chicago Reader is one of the last of the alt weeklies that are still standing. I mean, I don't even know if the Village Voice is still around, But I mean, the Reader, it's not as big as it used to be. The Reader was a really cool newspaper when I was a teenager because my dad would grab it. It was kind of the big city newspaper, and it would have the advertisements for all the cool, weird movie listings and terrific personal ads. The personal ads were some of the best things to read in the Reader. So to be mentioned by the Reader as best bartender was truly an honor, and it's like Miss America. I get to hold that title for a year, so I will be promoting it every chance that I get.
That's awesome.
Did I send you guys your stickers? Did I send you guys your best bartender in Chicago stickers?
No, I would love to have
All right,
one.
message me your mailing address, and I'll get those out to you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we'll
You guys trying to get a podcast off the ground. I can totally relate to self-promotion, though. I get
it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, I have to deal with a little bit of guff from people either at the bar and a lot of it's in good fun, but just talking about my narcissism, my megalomania, my all that. But I just look, instead of worrying about what I'm doing, do something you're proud of and tell everybody about it. I firmly believe that. And I think more people should promote their friends and kind of, for lack of a better term, lower tier, untested writers podcast, rather than resharing the same blue check mark garbage that's out there on Twitter. Why aren't we helping them? Celebrities are not your friends, guys. Yeah. I know. You're getting me on my soapbox pretty early about that sort of thing. I've got too much of that fire in my belly. Sometimes.
Is it a thing with and I don't know if you've lived in Chicago your entire life or whatever.
I have.
Okay, so is it a thing? Because everybody, obviously different accents, but I had a roommate from Buffalo, New York, and when he would get fired up, the Buffalo accent would come out even more. Is that a thing in Chicago? Like the accent just comes out even more when you get fired up?
I've heard it. I've been told it happens to me. I also have been told by my bartending partner on Saturdays, Ashley, that I develop a lisp when I've had a couple too many pops, which makes sense because I did take speech class when I was in grade school to eliminate that. So I think you lose your motor skills a little bit. So I start to sound like Ed Begley Jr. But Ed Begley Jr. if he was from Chicago, from the south side of Chicago. Yeah. I always tell people, oh, your accent. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hear
yeah.
Hey, before we move on, while we're on that topic, once you tell the fine folks where they could go to get a beer slung to them by you,
absolutely,
promotion there.
Absolutely, like in typical Chicago politics, the best bartender in Chicago doesn't even work in Chicago. I work in the suburbs. I work in Blue Island, which is a very, I don't want to say hip, but it's a little bit more of an urban suburb. That's a kind of a misnomer about the suburbs too. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but there's a misnomer in Chicagoland that the suburbs are all these lily white places. They're all Naperville. Naperville is a very kind of, well-to-do suburb. And it's like, no, there's a lot of suburbs in Chicago that are, kind of cool, kind of ethnic. You have Berwyn, of course, most people know from the Svengoolie show, Dalton. But in Blue Island is a kind of it's slowly, my boss, Dave Brown, the owner of the Rock Island Public House, says it's slowly becoming the Brooklyn of Chicago.
Yeah.
Rock Island Public House in Blue Island, Illinois. You can find us on social media.
Which Brooklyn now is becoming sort of like a thing for hipsters, right? In New York.
Well, Brooklyn's slowly becoming Naperville, if you ask me. It's becoming all the cool, like, it's like anything else. It's like Austin. It's like San Francisco, tech and all these, what do I say? Like, people with money come in and because it's a cool area. And then they love all the artists and everything, and then none of the artists can afford to live there anymore.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So, moving on a little bit to the topic of the day, we had some big news this week, Mike. The people spoke, the people won. Hayden Panettiere is back in the Scream universe. Now, I got Brandon to watch the new Scream. I have not gotten him to watch 4 yet, so he doesn't know how big news this is. But I think that was a character you were quite fond of as well.
No, I was not on the Scream 4 episode of Halloweenies. So I haven't really, kind of said my piece about Scream 4, which is not a favorite of mine. I think Scream 4 was too late and too early at the same time.
Okay.
It was too late after Scream 3, but it's trying to do what Scream 5 or 5 Cream does even better. And I kind of laugh about it. I just think that the Kirby character's fine as far as characters in Scream go, but when people try to say that she's better than Randy for one reason or another, you can just lose me with that. Just because she wears a blazer, like, get out of here. I don't know. And I liked the new girl, the new Kirby, the new Randy. What was her name? I cannot remember in the new Scream. But I think I preferred her to Kirby. I just am not a big fan of Scream 4. I just think it falls flat for me. But I think the reason a lot of people have such adoration for Scream 4 is the same reason that I have adoration for that first film, is that they saw it when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
They saw it when they were 11, 12 years old. And that speaks to you. Like when I saw Scream when I was 16, I knew I'd seen something special as somebody who had already loved horror movies for as long as I did. I knew that I had seen my generation's Nightmare on Elm Street, like that game changer, that influenced, for better or worse, the next 10 years of horror movies.
Yeah.
I think 4 for me, it's just because I think it has the coolest killer reveal, at least since the first one and maybe in the whole series.
You know what? I do agree with that, because if you listen to our rankings episode where we rank the killers, like as much as I rank Scream 4 lower as the movies, I do like the motivation of the killer in, we won't spoil too much. And I like where she came from. I thought that I narrowed it down a little bit for you. If you haven't Screamed 4 yet, but come on, get with it.
Yeah. I've had plenty of time.
You know, that's Scream 4 is probably a movie that if I actually sat down and watched it again right now, I'd probably enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah. Hey, the newest, speaking of the newest, the Scream, we talked to you before. I think it came out. I think it had another month or something, or a couple weeks or something. Yeah. And obviously we didn't want to go too much into, whatever we thought or whatever it was. But I know we said we'd get back together once we all have seen the flick. And I got to say, I really enjoyed it. I thought Ryan and I kind of talked about it. I thought it stuck to a lot of the originalities of how the whole franchise began. I liked kind of how they did like a rendition of kind of throwing a throwback to the original, the very first one. There are obviously some things in it, but the cheesiness was there too at times, which was awesome. And I gotta give my wife credit. She actually pinned down one of the killers like right out the gate. Like she was like, it's the guy. It's but I don't want to say.
Well, hey, let's just talk about it openly. Look, if you haven't seen 5 Cream yet, screw ahead and go watch the movie. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So she pinned it down. She pinned down the gentleman, I will say, is one of the
you know what,
is one of the killers.
I had that feeling, but I really didn't want to believe it because I liked them so much. And that's why that line, I know it's a bummer that it's me, just resonated with me strongly. But I had a feeling about the other killer, the chick who just can't catch a break in the third act of a movie, huh?
Once upon a time in Hollywood, right?
Oh my god! And the best part is, like, everybody claims that was already in the script before they cast her in the role. But I think she has to do it at least one more time to complete a trifecta.
Yeah.
Only one thing bothers me about her, Mike, and I know you have to suspend belief when it comes to horror movies, and you can go back
especially the Scream movies.
Yeah, and you can go back and argue about why Jamie Lee left the knife there in 1978 or whatever you want to do. But the physicality of some of the stuff the killer has to do in Scream does not match the size or strength of that girl at all. Especially,
not of Dennis Quaid, or not of the Quaid kid either, really.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Especially the scene from that movie that will probably live on more than any other scene that happened in the hospital, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the hospital.
That one bothers me probably.
Yeah, the hospital scene.
The thing about that is, like, I can't believe after 5 movies, it was a cell phone that did him in.
Yeah, right.
You'd think he'd be sharper than that.
Yeah. He's seen enough killers come back to life. He should have probably known.
And speaking of that, like, it is the Scream series, so much like Star Wars, no one is ever truly gone, right?
Yeah.
As we're learning with Kirby coming back. Although I was reading that Wes Craven always intended for her to have survived.
Yeah, that's been a rumor, I think, around that movie for a while. But that'll be. I know a lot of people were really excited to see her come back. That was a fan deal.
She. Well, you know what? I laughed. I said, "You want to talk talking about meta fucking bullshit or meta stuff?" The toxic fans getting exactly what they want in the return of Kirby. When you look at it in terms of Scream 5, although I gotta say, I kind of related to the killers in this one because Stab 8 sounds like it stunk.
It looked like it did for sure.
It looked rough.
Oh my God.
Well, first of all, again, happy Friday the 13th. I don't know if we say that or if that's too dorky.
Happy Friday the
but I'll
13th
say
to
it.
you, if you celebrate.
I will tonight with some movie watching. I wanted to touch on that series for a minute, and then we'll get on some Evil Dead stuff, obviously, for the new season. But your co-host Justin Gerber said something a couple times during that season that really stuck to me. When I was growing up, I was more of a Halloween Freddy guy and kind of got to know the Jason films a little bit later in life. But he said something in those seasons where it was something, and I'm paraphrasing him, that the Friday the 13th movies are probably more rewatchable than the other two series are in terms of just having it on in the background while you're working. And, you know, in the last year or two, I've really found that to be true. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that Fridays are just easier to watch?
Well, the only one that I'd give it's a run for money is the Nightmare on Elm Street series. But I think the issue with the Nightmare on Elm Street series is that they suck you in real easily because they're inventive and they're imaginative. The Friday the 13th movies, as they go along, like when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been able to tell you the difference between 1, 2, 3, and 4 because aesthetically they kind of feel the same. So they feel like one long movie. So that sameness kind of just allows to have it in the background, and you know the plots aren't that intricate, right. And even I always say about the series, like the Nightmare on Elm Street series, all of them are pretty good to great, including the sequels, not including the remake. The Halloween movies, there's only one really good Halloween movie, and that's the first one. And then it's a steep decline. It's a steep decline.
I will die on the hill for 6, Mike. I'm sorry, I just will.
6 is enjoyable, but you can't call that good.
Okay, fair enough.
The Friday the 13th movies kind of ebb and flow. And it's easier because there's so many of them. Of course, there's probably as many Halloween movies now as there are Friday the 13th movies. That you can pick out your favorites. You can pick out your favorite scenes. You could almost like put together a Friday the 13th. I think it'd be easier to put together a Friday the 13th mixtape where you would just pick your favorite kills, your favorite scenes, and cram it into an hour. And that's kind of what it's like about having the Friday the 13th movies in the background. And for me, it's kind of a weird comfort thing because it just reminds me of being a kid, because these were the movies. Rarely did you get an Elm Street marathon. Rarely did you get a Halloween marathon. But every Friday the 13th, and if you're lucky, you'd get 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
USA or Joe Bob Briggs was going to be running a Friday the 13th marathon. So there's a lot of nostalgia, and I always say nostalgia is not a dirty word. Just take it for what it is.
Well, let's be simple with this. What's the best and what's the worst Friday the 13th movie in that frame?
Okay. So I have a couple. All right, we're gonna give you a couple different answers here. So the best Friday the 13th movie is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. It's quintessential. It gives you everything you want. If you were to build a time capsule and we're going to put in an example of a Friday the 13th movie, it's got to be 4 because it's got everything. It's got the teenagers, it's got the kills, it's got the sex, it's got the violence, and it's got the hockey mask, which is why, as much as I like that first one because it still has one foot in the 70s. It's not following all the slasher rules that have been set in place. It's definitely a Halloween ripoff. It's more of a whodunit. It's kind of a melodrama almost about a mother and her son who died in a weird way. The worst Friday the 13th. I'll say the
5.
No 5. No, you're wrong.
Actually, no, I forgot about Manhattan. I apologize.
I would say the remake, but I don't consider that part of the true series. So I got to go with Jason Takes Manhattan because I know you were saying 5.
So
I forgot about Manhattan.
You want to say 5, but like you can't say that 5's not entertaining. 5 is entertaining, and it's how sleazy it is and how mean spirited it is. Part 8 is just forgettable around every corner. Even 7, which is one that I don't enjoy all that much, it's got some imaginative deaths. I like that they bring in a telekinetic girl to take on Jason. I think that's cool, and it's a pretty cool Jason design. But you all know what the most imaginative sequel is. It's Jason Goes to Hell.
I like that one too.
But I don't know if I'd put that. I don't know if I'd put that on Friday the 13th. Like if I'm going to put something on Friday the 13th, I want to put on one of those first
right.
4.
Yeah.
Like the classics that really kind of nail those aesthetics of that time.
I think 2's the one that I tend to watch the most. I like the atmosphere and I like the bag.
So do I. It's creepy. And 2 is, it's essentially a remake of the original one, but it improves upon it, I think.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that Ted survives by making poor decisions, by going to the after hours bar. That's the only time it's ever happened in a Friday the 13th picture.
Here's what I've wanted to ask you, or any of you guys, if we ever got to speak to. You guys, like you said, this is nostalgia, and you watched these when you were a kid. And I'm assuming that when you go to do an episode, obviously there's a rewatch involved. So between now and when you were a kid, any of these series, any of these one-offs you guys do for the rental or the aisle, was there any of them that surprised you, that you liked a lot more now than you did then, or that you actually didn't like as much as you did then?
I can tell you right off the bat, House on Sorority Row is one that I saw parts of when I was younger. I watched it in my early 20s and was unimpressed with it. And then when I rewatched it for this episode, it's become a favorite of mine. I really dig that movie. Yeah. And as far as stuff that maybe didn't hold up, I can't really. Some of those later Friday the 13th, like when we were a kid, we all thought 7 was the coolest. And then as you get older, you realize, no, this one's it's just not as well made as the other ones.
Sorority Row was one of the ones I mentioned I hadn't seen before the rental. So I went back and watched that. I enjoyed that one too. I like the whole Joker get up too. That was kind of creepy.
That one's a gem. It's got 4 out of 5 doctors, terrific East Coast power pop band in there. We need more bands in movies, like cool bands. I'm all for that. Like one of the things I did like about Scream 5 was that it ended with what's the name of it? That band Salem, that pop punk song that it wasn't quite as on the nose as Whisper to a Scream was in that first film, but it was that nostalgia. It was like that warm blanket where it kind of reminded me of movies of that era.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on, you guys are now on The Evil Dead. I think episode 1 of Army of Darkness has dropped. Still waiting on 2.
2 will come out this weekend, like almost just as this episode is dropping. It'll probably come out Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yeah. Was it tough to know where to go after those first 3 or 4? Because obviously, Nightmare, Friday, and Halloween are like the series you think of. I mean, how did you guys kind of land on Evil Dead?
What we try to do is we try to tie in to it works a lot better if there's something happening that year. And this year we had Evil Dead. Well, there's 2 ways we could have gone. We could have done Evil Dead or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I don't know if you guys watched the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
You know what? See, I think Justin and we were surprised at how much we did like it. And I'm not saying it's great, but it was a fine movie, but it was ultimately soulless. But the thing is, if that was anything else other than a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, we'd be calling it one of the better slashers of the year. But they muck up the Texas Chainsaw Massacre connections around there's no cannibalism. Yeah. What kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie doesn't have any cannibalism in it?
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah. But every year, it's like, you ever seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Oh yeah.
Remember when he's saving all the pets from the pet store, and he keeps going by the tank of snakes, making that face? Like that's how some of these series are for us right now. That's how the Hellraiser series is, because we know we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to get to it. Or
Saw.
Which one? Oh God, Saw. It's like, well, and I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this for it. I tend to try and sit out some of the newer movies that we do for the show because it's not as much fun for me to do. I like diving into that research and hitting newspapers.com and trying to find some fun trivia and weird stuff. And it's not as much fun as when it's stuff from 10 years ago, something like the Saw movies. We have not had any discussions about this in any depth, but I could see us doing Child's Play.
That'd be cool.
Which would be a fun series to do, because I think all of those movies have something worth talking about.
Yeah.
We're gonna, like I said, Hellraiser's good up until 4, but after that, it's just a bunch of dreck. Who else is there? What? Refresh me on some of the other franchises that I keep blocking out of my head. The Witchcraft films. There's like 20 of those. I've never seen any of them.
I remember going to our local VHS. Like I think Ryan and I grew up in the same town, so it was like Hollywood Video, and getting Actually, the other place too, Ryan, across lanes right by what was but I would get Witchcraft. I would get the Witchcraft series. Like my mom would have the I told Ryan about this. My mom would let me get 8 rated R movies and such and like all that, and they would just call her and they already knew me at that point, so I would just rent them out.
I had the same exact experience.
Yeah, so I've watched a couple of those. They're not, I wouldn't say they're not great, but it's definitely worth a watch though.
Yeah, one year. Well, that's like on my list. It's like, okay, one day I'm gonna finally watch the Faces of Death movies, even though they really don't appeal to me. I've seen the first one, but I feel like, you know, being sort of a scholar of horror, you need to at least watch them and be able to offer that opinion. You know, at those blue checkmark horror journalist cocktail parties, you at least have to be able to offer an opinion on the Faces of Death films, because a lot of the other franchises, there just aren't that many movies. Like even Evil Dead, we had to figure out, well, how are we going to make this last for a year?
Yeah,
because there's really only 5 including the new one, right?
Yeah,
and then so you got to fill up 7 more months, but you have the TV show, you have the video game. I would like to cover some other Sam Raimi stuff, like what's the one? Drag Me to Hell. I feel kind of fits squarely in the Evil Dead universe, and I think Darkman, just in Raimi's story as a filmmaker, is an important film to talk about. So I don't know where we're gonna go next. Maybe one of the ideas I really liked that we kind of talked about was maybe like not doing like a true franchise, but going back and doing Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
And that would challenge us as far as research goes, because we're going back and we're doing some real old school Hollywood history, which I would absolutely love. Or a season of Romero. I think we're going to have to kind of change up the format a little bit, because nobody really, it's all because of the Hellraiser movies. Nobody wants to do them. We only want to do the first 4.
Yeah. Ryan, you haven't seen the Hellraisers, right?
I think I've seen the first one. I'll
That's
have to get busy for sure. See,
I mean, it's not really. It's not. I mean, when you talk about, I like them for the most part. They're out there, but yeah, it's a different type of taste for sure.
My hot take is that I don't know if it's the best one, but 3 is my favorite. I like when they really tried to turn Freddy Krueger into Pinhead, going so far as to even have him appear in a music video where he's playing cards with Lemmy. You know, that's peak Pinhead as Freddy. Yeah, and I love it. I love that when Freddy Krueger died, every studio was trying to turn their franchise villain into or create a franchise villain that was going to be the new Freddy. I mean, that's how you get junk like Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, you know, I had to confess something to you. We all had that movie when we were way too young to watch stuff that we accidentally walked in on or saw a scene that scared the Jesus out of us. You know, that was Evil Dead for me. So I'll let that movie alone for a long time. Rewatched it a month ago, and I'll tell you, like, I watched Army of Darkness last night. What a great movie! I had a lot of fun watching that. But I think because those movies get so funny, do you think people forget how terrifying the first Evil Dead really is? Because it still holds up in that way.
I do, and that's what I love about this series. In fact, obviously I'm looking forward to the new Evil Dead Rise, and I wasn't a terrific fan of the remake, but I think what was so cool about those first 3 films is that they're all so different. Yeah. And you see a progression. And I think really, if you were going to do a true Evil Dead 4, the best way to go would be go sci-fi, because they jump genres so much. The first one is a very traditional, very transgressive horror picture. The second one, you're kind of blending horror and comedy. And then the third one, it's a Three Stooges movie set in the Middle Ages. Like, it's not scary at all. But I mean, if you were a fan, and I was 12. I didn't care. I liked everything. When you're 12 years old, you don't have that discerning taste. But I could see if you were an older fan who grew up with the Evil Dead and you're 20 by the time Army of Darkness comes out, I could see how you'd be like, forget that. But like you were talking about how the Evil Dead scared you so much. And that's one thing I love about that picture, is that it's transgressive to the point where, and that's why it works on 2 levels for me. When you first see it and you don't know who these people are, you feel like somebody may have actually died on that movie. Yeah, and if you hear the stories about making it, it sounds like some people came close. And then it works on another level when you find out who these filmmakers are, and it's one of the best filmmaking underdog stories of all time. That a bunch of college dropouts from the Midwest, so I got a little bit of Michigan's close enough to Illinois for me. that truly made good. And it took him a couple times. Like I believe that Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi career should have skyrocketed with the release of Army of Darkness, but they were kind of hampered by that delayed release date and an R rating, which that movie doesn't deserve at all.
Yeah.
It's so funny because people talk about Doctor Strange, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard that they actually do give Raimi some leeway, and he puts some of his stink on it. But people talk about how it's so scary, and I kind of love that Sam Raimi was trying so hard for a PG-13 rating for Army of Darkness, but the MPAA was being petty, and they were mad because the first two movies were released without ratings and still did well. So they gave that R rating Army of Darkness to kind of say, hey, this will teach you a lesson. And now Sam Raimi is releasing a Marvel movie that they've got the MPAA under their thumb. They're going to get their PG-13 rating, whether the MPAA wants to give it to them or not. And I kind of love that. Like it's a slight petty revenge.
By the way, just real quick, watching Army of Darkness, I couldn't shake the thought that Bruce Campbell sure acts a lot like Ace Ventura in that movie. Think about with Jim Carrey in a demon movie.
But right down to his face getting stretched out. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So but Mike, as usual, we kept you too long, man. Longer than we.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man.
Oh, dude, I'll come out. Dude, when I saw the text or I saw the message, I was so excited because I had such a good time talking with you guys.
Yeah, I want to let you plug all your stuff, obviously, real quick. Halloweenies, double.
Where do I start?
Rock Island. Just do your best.
Visit me. So follow me on Twitter at Mike Vanderbilt. That's the best place to get a hold of me. Tweet me your stuff. I'll retweet it. Like I know, self-promote, and I will help you self-promote. That's my promise to you, the Vanderbilts. Check me out on Halloweenies. We got a Friday the 13th Part 2 commentary that dropped today.
Lake Placid's coming.
Lake Placid. I'm currently in the midst of my Lake Placid research. Check out my new podcast, Cheap Tracks. We are exploring the history of Cheap Trick song by song. Check out my Playboy podcast, Centerfold, revealing culture through Playboy magazine. We look back at an old Playboy and kind of relate it to the culture at the time and the culture now. And then, of course, Windy City Double Feature Picture Show, where we take a double feature that played around the Chicagoland area and talk about a little history of the theater and double feature. And we're going to have an Evil Dead episode coming up pretty soon, too. Because can't get enough Evil Dead. Like that, I was so excited to do that franchise because spoiler alert here, all five stars, 4 stars, 5 stars for me. They're great. And talk about like stuff holding up. When I watch Army of Darkness, I watched it last week for the show or 2 weeks ago. I was a little kid again. I just think that movie's so cool.
It was great.
Awesome stuff, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, you
thank you very much, boys. And this is dropping at 4 today.
Dropping at 4 today. So
tag me and I will retweet.
All right. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, boys.
Man. See ya.
Pleasure.
All right. There he goes.
I mean, by far the best guest on this show.
There you go, man. A lot of fun there.
Yeah, you had to cut me off via text there. I could talk that stuff all day long, but yeah.
We got 4 minutes in this Zoom here. So
we're gonna kill it. Just if you aren't checking out their podcast, man, you're messing up. It's my favorite podcast anywhere other than ours. And you're out there and you like horror movies at all, you need to check them out.
It's good stuff, man. And the more we do this Zoom stuff, probably do pro or something so we can have more time with people. But it's plus I gotta get this video over to our guy over at HD. But it was great having everybody on today. Mitch Hoffman, David Scragg of UC. Good luck to them doing their thing. And then of course, Mike Vanderbilt talking some horror with us, and check out Halloweenies podcast, all the stuff he plugged too.
Can't wait to have him on again, man. So cool that he's like a friend of the show now. So,
all right, it's awesome stuff, man. Make sure to check us out, all our social medias as well. wvgazettemail.com, herald-dispatch.com. All episodes are archived over there, both websites. We're on the front page. Click it if you miss it, as we premiere it at 4:00 Monday and Fridays. We'll be back on Monday. Jack should be back with us too. We'll be back in the normal studio and all that good stuff. So just appreciate all the love we've got, all the messages and likes and follows, and appreciate our guests as well today.
Charleston Catholic one more time.
Yeah, and thank you to Charleston Catholic for accommodating my guy over there, giving him Wi-Fi and be able to do this. So, all right, we will talk to you on Monday. Thank you for watching and listening to the Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt.
Thanks, guys.